So, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever time that you are watching this video. I am Richard Taylor with Taylor House Publishing, and I'm here at the VOS Annual Retreat. VOS stands for Victims Advocate Support Services, where we give support, or the organization gives to support for people who have lost relatives to gun violence. And today I have with me Mrs. Sevhn Robinson.
Seven.
Sevhn Robertson. And we're going to talk a little bit about her son's incident in which he lost his life in Charlotte, North Carolina, correct?
Yes.
All right. And so tell us a little bit about your son, how old he was, what was his name, and the situation surrounding his death.
Okay, so you said my son. Let's start with my son. My name is Sevhn Robertson, as you said, and my son I named him Kyyri. They call him Ree. We live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and let's see, where do I start? At work on a Wednesday, and my phone kept ringing, and I kept wondering what this number was. I was like, who's this calling me? Everybody usually knows I'm at work at this time, so who is this?
What time was it?
It was like it was about after 9, because I got off at 9. So it started like before I got off. So it was probably between 8:30 and 9.
At night?
Yeah, the phone starts to ring, they're blowing me up, and they see I see like Mecklenburg doesn't show up all the way on your caller ID, so I saw like Meck something, and I was like, what is that? So anyway, I get off, and the first thing that you do as a mom, you go to is your kids. You go straight to calling your kids to see if they okay. And so I'm riding, and my usual schedule was to pick up my daughter from my auntie's house, and it kept blowing me up. And I said, let me call my sons and see if they're okay. So I called the youngest one first, and he said, what's up, Mom? And I was like, well, I'm just calling to check on you because I keep getting this call, and it has Meck something. And I thought maybe I got in trouble or something happened. Like, I said, but if you're good, okay. I said, let me call you back. Let me check on your brother. Mm-hmm. And so by this time, I reach my daughter, and I pick her up from my auntie's house. And I'm like, let me call my oldest son. So I pull over at QT, and this number is still calling me. And so I said, let me call Kyyri. So I called Ray, and I called him, and I called him again. And my sons and I have this thing where you always supposed to pick up your phone by the third ring, because I always told him, if you don't pick up your phone, I'm gonna get scared. Mm-hmm. So by the time I reached like the 6th or 7th call, I looked at my daughter and I said, something is really wrong. Because even if he didn't pick up by the third ring, he would call me immediately. He would call me back, so I wouldn't get into that scared mode. And so he didn't call back. And I said, let me pick up this phone and see. So I'm like, who is this? And they're like, can you meet us at a store? And you asking me to meet you at a store. I'm like, who is this? Mm-hmm. Just because it says Meck something on the ID don't mean that that's somebody from, you know what I mean?
Did they identify themselves as?
No, they just said, I need to see you, and we need you to meet us at a store or somewhere. Where can we meet you? And I'm like, where can you meet me? Mm-hmm. Like, that's crazy. I'm not just meeting somebody. These people crazy around here. So I'm like, Still haven't gotten a call back from my son. So I drove some more, and me and my daughter, we talking like, my daughter's like, Ma, you don't know if that's really the police? Because I said, well, maybe that's the police trying something, I'm confused. So I pull over again, and I said, let me call this number back. So I call the number back, and he did pick up and say, detective such and such. Okay. So I was thinking that my son got in some trouble or something, but I was just like, let me go ahead and just, so I said, I'm close by a police station. So if you really are a detective and whatever, let's meet at the police station. You ain't gonna have no problem with that, right?
I understand that.
So I go and I said, well, let's meet there, and it's about a couple of minutes away. And I pull up at the police station, and I get out, and I have my daughter, my auntie met me up there where I picked my daughter up from.
Okay.
And so I told her to come up there. That's where I'm going, so somebody would know where I was. So I get up there, and I see the detective, and I said, what's going on? I said, he looked at me, and just the look that he had on his face, he dropped his head, and I said, what's going on? And he said, I guess you know by now. And I said, no, I don't. You've been blowing me up the whole time. I just got off from work. What's going on? And he looked at me, and he dropped his head, and he said, your son is gone. I was like, what are you talking about? He's gone. He's gone where? What? And I'm looking around, and the two other detectives that came out, and he said, your son was murdered tonight. And I started to scream so loud that it could pierce the whole city. I screamed walking. I just started walking and calling my son's name and dialing his number and calling his name. And I think I walked a long ways, just dial his number. Pick up the phone, Bree. Pick up the phone. I got angry at him. Like, pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. Where are you? Like, and I'm just screaming and crying. And they actually came, like, looking for me because I had walked off. Come to find out that my son had been murdered at the barbershop. He had been at the barbershop, and there was someone that was in the barbershop that knew someone else, and they actually called that person and told them that my son was at the barbershop. And apparently they must have told that person must have told him, hold him there until I can get there. Make sure you keep him there. And so my son got his hair cut, and he went outside. If he would have just left, I think my son would still be here. But he went outside, and the guy to hold him there, he went to befriend him and ask him for a cigarette, and just started talking to him like,
Did he know the guy? Did he know
I don't think that he knew him. I think that he might have seen him somewhere. You know what I mean?
Like associate.
Yeah, an associate, whatever. And so he befriended my son, and he went outside, and he smoked a cigarette with him and chopped it up with him, like, everything was good. And the way that this is what I put together, because on the cameras they saw him talking to this person. So the person was facing to the left, my son was facing to the right. Okay. It's a U-shaped parking lot. So when he saw the guy coming in the car, my son had his back turned, so he didn't see him.
Okay.
Well, he goes on ahead and he leaves.
You got was talking to him.
He's like, I see you later, pound him up.
He accomplished his mission.
Right, I'm gone now, so let me go ahead and leave out. Well, my son is parked at the front door of the barbershop, but he's backed in. And, the guy comes up in between the cars, and my son had just told me, I have to get my air conditioner fixed in the car. So his air conditioner was broke, so he had all the windows down, like halfway down. And from what I was told, and the monster, the boy, he comes up behind the cars, and he sticks his gun in the back window, and he shot my son in the left back of the head. So what I have to go through every day is hearing and remembering how the DA said he was shot in the left back of the head, the first shot, and he slumped to the right. And I hear those words every single day. He slumped to the right. There was a car that was parked in my parking lot of my apartments where I live, and they had a car exactly like my son, and I couldn't park beside that car because I saw him slump to the right. Those words eat at me every day. And so he came up. That was from the back window. He stepped up to the front window after my son is already gone at this point. He went to the front window. He didn't put 1. He didn't put 2. He didn't put 3. He didn't put 4. He didn't put 5. But he put 6 additional bullets in my son's left arm and chest from the front window, close range. So, to me, that's an overkill. What makes a person so angry that they want to take somebody's life? Because what they don't understand is he didn't just take Ree. He took a son, a grandson, a co-worker, a friend, a father. And he took a family, because my whole family is messed up right now. He took a brother. My son is not good. My son that was murdered, son is not good. Because he calls me and he says, Grandma, can you tell me a story about my dad? Because he was too young. He was too young to remember his dad. So you have another young black man now that's angry because his father is gone. And when you have an 8-year-old to call you and say, Grandma, can you tell me a story about my dad? Because I don't remember him. And you got an 8-year-old to say, Grandma, I'm trying to connect with my dad's spirit. And I can't. You know, they don't think before they pull these triggers. They feel it's just it's just a reaction, a quick reaction.
How long ago was this? When did this happen?
This is August the 8th. No, yeah, August the 8th, 2017. So those 8s are, you know.
So I heard you talking yesterday about the subsequent, I guess, trial and arrest. Like, how long did it take them to find the monster, as you say, who did this act?
They arrested him probably like a month later. Yeah, and he had been arrested. He's been incarcerated for since then. But the thing about it is, okay, originally I'm from Connecticut and I grew up in Virginia. And
What part of Virginia?
Newport News, Hampton.
Okay, I lived in Virginia Beach.
Yeah, I lived in Virginia Beach too.
Yeah, okay, I got that vibe from you.
So, when you kill somebody in VA, you don't go ask for a bond.
Yeah,
they don't give out bonds.
They don't.
Not if you taking somebody's life.
They didn't give me a bond for driving while license revoked.
Exactly. They don't do that. And so when I come here and I have somebody that's taking my son ask for a bond, I'm like, what? How does that happen? We don't do that where I'm from. Like, how do you take somebody's life and turn around and ask for a bond to go home and just chill until trial? Like you didn't do nothing? I don't know. I don't get that.
So did they give him one?
No. No.
Okay.
He never got a bond. He asked 4 times and he never got a bond.
As well.
No bond for murder.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I started a hashtag, no bond for murder, because I was constantly seeing what I call my angel moms, which are the women that I work with or like that I've met through this journey that have lost children to gun violence or a violent crime, and none of us have received justice. None of us have received justice. It's like, I was told, so here recently, we had the trial. No, I'm sorry. Here recently, we were supposed to have the trial. We were told up until 2 days prior to what was supposed to be a trial that we were going to have one by the DAs. We were told that, we were going to have a trial and we were going to, you know, try to just go through with everything to
And
give
when
the
was
murderer where he needs to be, which is in a cell for the rest of his life.
When was this? Like this was this year? Last
Yeah,
year?
this was this year. This was like a couple of months ago. So I waited 6 years.
Yeah, that's what I was about
waited
to say.
6 years.
That's a long time.
That is a long time.
During that wait, without any closure, how did you, kind of navigate it, because it's still like open. You still haven't, received closure for the person who did it. How did you navigate that 6 years?
What I did was, I was told that I needed to go to therapy. And I said, no, me and God will do this on our own. I don't want to do therapy. So one day I was laying on my bed and let me see what this therapy thing is about. And I didn't see anything.
Probably.
I didn't see anywhere as I scrolled through the internet, like, about gun violence, where there was anybody. I saw the numbers. I saw statistics. I saw how many murders took place in this place and that place, but I didn't see anywhere where it said, "Call me when you're having those out of body experiences. Call me when you're having a panic attacks." And so I decided that I wanted to be that person.
Okay.
So I decided at that point, I'm gonna turn a negative into a positive. Because if you don't, this thing right here will eat you alive. So I decided to just do events and get more involved in the community, and meeting my angel moms and just people that were going through what I was going through, and trying to start. Well, at that time, what I decided was to let me start a nonprofit. Let me see if I can, help other moms, because I want to be that person that they call at 2:00 in the morning. I want to be that person that they call to, navigate through this thing called trauma. And, so I just started doing events throughout the city and meeting new people and connecting with people and just networking and stuff like that. And so MM2K was born.
MM2K, what does that stand for?
MM2K stands for Mommy's Matter to Kyyri.
Mommy's Matter to Kyyri, and that's your son's name, Kyyri.
Right.
And you said he was how old at the time of his death?
He is 25.
25. And so you get to, I guess, early in this year, and they were telling you that they were going to trial, and
they were telling you through the whole thing, through the whole time, we're gonna go to, this is gonna be safe. Well, it was a wait because we had COVID, so COVID kind of pushed us back like 3 years.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So they were backed up on cases, and I would periodically call and just be like, when are we? What's the update? What's the update? Because you have to stay on top of those DAs, or they'll sweep you underneath the rug like nothing happened. And because I have a black son, they'll sweep that under the rug and what I was determined to do is not have my son be another black son that you swept underneath the rug. Every Monday, and I mean every Monday for 6 years, every Monday, I called the detective and I said, "What's the update?" Every Monday. He knew his phone was going to be ringing at 8:30. And that was a promise that I made to myself and to my son, that we were going to stay on top of this case, yes.
So at the day, I guess, of the trial or I guess the plea agreement, so there wasn't a trial.
So they called, they said, So 2023 comes, and in January they're like, we're going to be going to court sometime this year, so get prepared. And I kept in touch with them. I talked with them, and through the whole year, this year, it's been, we're going to trial. We're going to trial. We're going to trial. And 2 days prior to us supposedly going to trial, they called me in for a meeting. Let's have a round table with the DAs. So a round table is where you get with the DAs. They talk about the evidence that they have, and what's going to happen, blah blah blah. And my husband and I, we meet with them, and they're sitting and they're like, we got phone records, we got Facebook messages, we have a testimony from someone, we have a testimony from another person. We're looking for that person, but we're really trying to find that person, so we feel like it's going to be good. We get to, they're telling me all these good things that they have and all this information that the detectives had laid in their lap. And then he says, but we decided. Let me repeat that. We decided that we're going to give him a plea. Me and my husband and I are like, what? You just gave us all this information that's been placed in your lap by the detectives, because the detectives do their job. Mm-hmm. It's the DAs that is where everything falls apart.
Yeah.
So when you don't have your community of us going to vote, because they think that the presidential election is everything. It's not the everything. The everything is your local, right there where you are, the DAs, the judges, all of them. Yes. Until you understand that, we're going to keep having these problems. This is where it starts. The actual changes are made in Raleigh with the legislators. Okay? So they said, we decided that we're going to give him a plea. And that plea is going to be, he's already been locked up for 6
years.
6 years. Okay. But you have to understand, when you go to trial, or when you go to court, let me say that, you have to understand the language of the court.
Okay.
When they say 64 to 80 or 62 to 84 months, and they're giving you you're like calculating, you're like, okay, well, he's going to get like 6 years, 5, you're calculating the years. Mm-hmm. In your mind, those are 12 months in a year. But what happens is, if they've already done time, like he did 6 years, he did that in the city jail in Mecklenburg. You get a day and a half. When you go to prison. So they are calculating, right, you get a day and a half. So really, in their time, he really probably already did about 9 years. Yeah. Right.
So what was the final sentence that they gave him?
So I was very upset, because that was their decision. They kind of argued with me to ask me, why would you want a trial? We already told you that it's not going to be in your favor.
Like my husband not guilty.
Right. With all the information that you have, I felt like, and my husband felt like, let's try to put him away for what he did, because you know that, and I know that, he know that too. That's why he jumped on the plea so quick. So my husband is like, she wants to do it because she already took the biggest loss. She lost her son. My son's not coming back. So why not try to take this murderer away for a long time? I want his life for my son's life. Do I want him to get the chair? No, I don't want him to get the chair. I want him to sit. I don't want him to think about my son every day like I do. That's how I want his life. I want him to have to be away from his children. I want him to, think about my son every day like I think about him, because there's not a day that passes by that I don't pass that urn that sits on my table. So what I do when I go and speak different places, I got the hashtag, I'm the urn lady, because I take my urn with me.
Okay.
I take Kai with me. I need you to see. This is how you're going to leave your mother. This is how you're going to leave your mom and your dad. And this is reality right here.
So what did they end up giving him?
They ended up giving him the plea, and they ended up giving him, he has to do 2 to 5 years with good behavior.
2 to 5 years? So they didn't charge him with first degree, second degree, manslaughter or something like that?
Oh, they gave him manslaughter. I'm sorry. They gave him manslaughter. So when I did my research, when I looked up the definitions of murder and manslaughter, murder is intentional, manslaughter is not. When you put a bullet in somebody's back of the head and then you step to the front window and then you put 6 more in their arm and chest, that sounds intentional to me. I'm sorry. Did it sound intentional to you?
It definitely sounds
Okay,
intentional.
I thought it sounded intentional. Manslaughter is not. So one thing that happened that was told to me, I think everybody should know. And I don't want to say this to be funny or, and I don't know. I think
Just say it.
leave
No, just say it. No, say
I think I
it.
might
Say
just
it.
leave
You
it
got
alone.
because
So
somebody need to hear it. Somebody need to
Look.
hear whatever you got to say.
When you have them tell you he covered up his face, no face, no case.
Who covered up his face? The guy who did it?
The person who did it.
So that's what they're saying. He covered up his face.
So that's the reason why we don't want to go to court.
So because the camera didn't see him, is that what they're saying?
No, the camera saw it, but he had something on his face. So
So
that was
identify.
They couldn't clearly say, oh,
he did it.
That's him. But when you offer him, when you have phone records and you have the phone pinging at the location, you don't need, forget your phone ping at this place. All 3 of them ping at my son's murder spot, like location. So what you need? Who cares about it? Your phone was there. Your Facebook messages said it. Your phone messages said it. What? The testimony of what type of menace to the community that you are said it. Because that's the first newspaper or news clipping that came out. It said, menace to the community arrested for murder. I didn't know nothing about this boy. So apparently they saw all the charges that he had. All the charges he had, and then they let him go, and then he came and killed my son. So you got everything on your record now.
But they still only gave him, I guess, in addition to the time served, you're saying that he only has to serve right now, in addition to that, an extra 2 years, 2 to 5 years, you said.
2 to 5 years. So my son's life, Kyyri, Doggette's life, in their eyes is only worth, 8 years? With all the information that you have. Along with testimonies from his ex-girlfriend, testimony from the shooter's cousin who agreed to testify against his cousin, if he gets some help with his stuff that he needed help with.
Okay.
But since it was 6 years, he's gotten out of that, so we mysteriously, kind of disappeared type thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, and then you mentioned something about the guy who drove the shooter to
Right.
the location.
Right.
He's actually out right now, correct?
Right. And again, at his court hearing, they saying, whatever amount, I think it was like 82, 84 months. They say it in months, so you like sitting there calculating like, y'all, but
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, whatever he had said, I was calculating like maybe 3-4 years. I said, he had been already locked up or incarcerated for 4 years. So I'm like, let's see. Okay, he's gonna do this, and then these, I'm thinking that he's still in jail, and he had to do almost a year, or maybe at 1 year, and so you see
Almost a year.
Yeah, so he actually got out this January. It's 2023.
And you said you actually ran into him somewhere.
I've seen them.
You've seen them.
I've seen them at this couple of stores, and they didn't even have the decency to tell me that he was getting out.
You mean the court
Right.
victim services didn't have the decency
Right.
to tell
So, can you imagine seeing somebody that was involved in your son's murder, and you seeing them out and about having a great life and the store, mall, and you just, and they just having a great life, like nothing happened. I done did my time, but I live a life sentence for the rest of my life, and I haven't even committed a crime.
That's real right there. That's real. I live a life sentence, but you've never committed a crime, man.
Right.
It's so much more to the story, but I know we got to start getting ready for today's event. But I certainly thank you,
You're so welcome.
Robinson or Robertson.
Robinson.
I thank you, Miss Sevhn Robertson, for sharing the story, the bravery, that it takes. I know, something like, well, I don't know, because like I said, I can't relate, so I won't.
No, I don't want you to relate.
Yeah. So,
I don't want you to relate. This is a life sentence.
What would you say to other mothers who are maybe going through this from your experience? What kind of advice that you could give them through this past 6 years that you may have learned?
Prayer is always first. Prayer, say your affirmations, your I am affirmations. Listen to your vibrations. Meditate. Therapy. I'm team therapy big time now. Therapy is a must. Get you a therapist that you mesh with. Not all therapists are good therapists. They may be good in their field, but make sure that you get you a trauma therapist, because we, angel moms and dads, we need trauma therapy. Trauma affects a lot of parts of your being, and journal a lot. Write down your feelings. Congregate with people that are going through the same thing you're going through. Because if you haven't been through it, you're not going to understand. You're not going to understand. Just get you a really good support system. I did start to put my feelings on paper, and I have just released my book, and it is called 7 Steps to Reset. And what I did in this book is I included the 7 steps that I took to get to where I am today and to help other people. Okay. So
The 7 steps to reset.
7 steps, but it's spelled like my name.
And it's
Sevhn.
Oh, HN. I thought that was an I.
No, that's a
Okay.
H. So it's
Okay.
Sevhn. Steps, and then the number 2, and then reset. 7
Reset.
steps to reset.
And that's available on
Amazon.
Okay.
On
So
Amazon.
y'all make sure y'all go get that work. And, once again, go ahead.
And it just includes, like I said, the 7 steps that I took to get to where I am. It talks a lot about the healing journey and, what it takes to start that journey and just continue. Because we're going to be on a healing journey like forever.
Yeah.
We're never going to be the same. So those I am affirmations are good. Those vibrations, taking time for yourself. Always take time for yourself. It's only 15 minutes. Sit down. Listen to your vibrations. They keep you balanced throughout the day. It's a lot of things. So get the book. It is awesome. I've got a lot of great, reviews on it.
Okay.
And, so I'm sure my son is proud of me for that.
Yes, I'm sure he is too. And keep being the inspiration, the rock, I guess, for your family and your other children. But I certainly thank you. I thank VAS as well for holding this event to help. Shout out to Anissa Perry and Aunt Sue, who are the founders of this organization. But she's doing this event. You see you can't see the whole thing, but you see the banner behind us. So VAS is Victims Advocate Support Services, and they hold events like, for parents, relatives, or people who have been lost to gun violence. So once again, I thank you. If you guys want to get in touch with her, you can call me, 919-587-7782. If you guys got any resources, any advice, if you want her to come to speak, call me, 919-587-7782, and I'll make sure she get the message. But we thank y'all guys for tuning in, and we'll probably have her back sometime in the future. But peace and blessings.
You want them to get my email?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's MM, the number 2, K like kite, the number 7, at Yahoo.
So MM, the number 2,
K like kite, K, the number 7, MM2K, the number 7 at Yahoo.
At Yahoo. So once again, I thank you, Sevhn, and we look forward to the good things that you have coming in the future. And rest in peace to Kyyri. Peace and blessings.